Guys, welcome to another 1v1 matchup. This time we are playing with this Russian player that I already played multiple games before. He's in the top 10, so definitely a really good player. We are playing a human mirror on the free player map. I'm in the top left corner with the black color and he's on the bottom with the blue color. So let's start it right away. I'm going with all 6 peasants for quick barracks. So we are preparing for the night opener if it will be suitable for our situation. I'm always choosing this side of the of my position to build the barracks at, but you can also place them down here. It doesn't really matter. You can choose both sides. I prefer to do this one. He's actually choosing quite interesting position for his barracks, placing it here in the back. This is usually the position that is chosen for the second barracks. Usually you place the first one here because it's protecting you mainly from this big entrance and also kinda covering the other 2 entrances as well. So I think it's the best position overall. But this can be also quite interesting if someone decides to push back from here or potentially this way, but most people would probably just go around, so I don't think this is actually that good. Both of us actually indeed chose to build the barracks on the other side. Then we have the enemy, so we are protected basically from the back, so kinda balanced. He also went for sawmill immediately, so he's going for quick archers. He actually finished it before his barracks, since he placed them so far away. It took a little bit longer to get there with the peasants. Also not queuing up an archer immediately. He had like 5 seconds delay there. And now he has his first farm. He's going for the second one, so also food is a little bit delayed. He might have some food problems later, but he's probably okay. He's playing some more peasants, and I'm going for my typical opener, so going for the fort as quickly as possible and then producing 2 swordsmen. Yeah, this was a bit of a mistake. You don't want to go this way because then you get shot by these archers. You want to go this way, but I wasn't paying too much of an attention. Here I micromanaged it a little bit better, but here you can't avoid archers. The thing is that we managed to get with our swordsman to the enemy bases. Here I actually found that he has an archer. This is really important. And now I see that he is not upgrading his town hall. He has the lumber mill here, or sawmill. Of course he's not here yet, so I have all the information I needed. I probably didn't even realize that I didn't see barracks, but that's not really important. He has soldiers, so obviously he has barracks. But based on what I saw, he's going for archers. He's quite far away, not really scouting me if anything, so I went for stables immediately. No reason to delay it in any way and try to go for some other units. We just go for stables, building it with 4 peasants with this build order. If you don't make the 2 swordsmen in the beginning, you want to build it with 5 peasants, but since I did that, now I have less resources, so I have to focus on this a little bit more on the gathering, and we can only use 4 peasants to build the stables here. But nonetheless, we finished it, immediately going for the night. I returned with this swordsman, it's always good. The one is scouting, you probably will lose him. You can try to kill some peasants or just scout a little bit more, maybe fight some units, whatever. Doesn't really matter what you do with it. You can also try to retrieve it, but usually won't happen. But the second swordsman who scouted the other position, you can almost always return with him to your base and then use him for scouting and also for night defense, so that's really important. That's why we brought him back. I also made the first night. Usually I immediately queue up another night, even delaying my farm, for example, or some peasant production. In this game I actually created, I think, 1 extra peasant, and I went for quicker farm, so you don't have to deal with any food problems. And now I'm making my second night, basically at the beginning of the night. So once we have 2 of them, we are taking them and going for the wolf's camp, which is right here on this position. So we'll go clear it immediately, try to gain some levels. You can really easily from the wolf camp gain level 2 for both of your knights, so that's really good. If you are hitting the same wolf with 2 knights, it's even better, but sometimes it's not that easy. The more important thing now is that some of the wolves were not hitting me for some time, so that was really good. He's already in front of my base, standing here with 7 archers, which is quite dangerous. I actually retreated with the swordsman. I'm actually happy about it. Now he would die, even though I would have the information he's already here. I will much rather just preserve him in the back, maybe defend some skeletons here. But now he's in my base, immediately one-shotting one peasant. I'm immediately retreating, but one of my knights is only 100 HP and he's immediately targeting him first, so that knight will unfortunately die. But now I have 2 full HP knights, one is level 1, one is level 2. I also have the swordsman here, and we pretty nicely swarmed him. I think he managed to kill maybe only one peasant. I really quickly retreated, then we lost the knight, so 1 peasant and 1 knight for 7 archers is definitely a worth it trade, so I'm really happy about it. Also it's just some extra resources for me from killing the archers and also some experience, so really good. Little bit of a stuck knight here, but hopefully we'll somehow figure it out so we don't lose any peasants. He's going for more archers, going for second barracks with smithy at the same time. This is enough for him to defend himself during the night, and he just figured out that he is now behind in terms of knights, so if he wanted to also go knights, I would just have more of them with more experience. I would kill him in 1v1 pure fight, so he can't go for that anymore. And just spamming units from these one barracks and trying to somehow push me with that also won't work. I already have too many knights, so his best bet was to either go for expansion, but to do that he would need to create really strong defense, so I cannot push him, and he just didn't have the resources for it now. If we take a look on the food, I have 270, he has basically the same, actually 8 more. And in terms of gold and food, we are both almost on 0, so he could either go for expansion, but that would be really risky, so he decided to go for the other approach, and that is to increase his infrastructure. Yeah, so he quickly created the smithy, second barracks, and now he first of all has another defensive point that he can use to defend his base. He couldn't defend it with these barracks in the back purely, he needed something in the middle of his base for his archers. And he also decided to build a barricade here for some extra defense, so now he has a barricade here plus the barracks from the top. He has barracks here, and if they go this way, he also has a barracks, and from the back he also has this for defense. So now he's kind of covered from all sides. He also has the smithy, so he can create some cannons, or if he decides to swap to swordsman, he can get the shields, but that doesn't really make sense in this situation because I don't have any ranged units, so shields won't be too effective, and swordsmen are also just not really good in pure fight against cavalry. So we will see what he decides to do next. Now he's producing his first cannon, so seems like he's going for pure turtle defense with cannons and archers. I think that's the best decision he could have made here. This is enough for him to farm some resources. Maybe I would make the barricade later once the skeletons stop coming, because now he's just losing some HP here for free, but it's not that big of a deal, to be honest, so probably kinda okay. He also has lots of archers in the back. I would probably maybe reposition it, but he wants to have space here for the cannon, so that's also okay, I think. Now I would probably start setting up some small towers, so he really has defense everywhere. But I can also not push him, yeah, that's another thing, that I can just stay with the knights at my base, get some more neutral kills, maybe go for expansion, and he will be just turtling here on one base, and I will eventually win on macro. So even when he's playing defensively like this, he of course wants to wait a little bit to see if I go and attack him, but if I don't come, then he wants to start at least scouting the map with some units to find out what I'm doing, so that's really important. He actually decided to go for a 4th upgrade. I don't think he wants to necessarily go for knights immediately, but he wants to have another strong tower in the middle where he can place his ranged units, so I think that's the main reason he's going for this. At the same time, he has a really good position because the roof through which he cannot shoot will be on the backside right here, so when I will be attacking from here, he can utilize it for his ranged units. Here I saw that he has the defense here with barracks, some swordsmen shot me, I probably didn't see the cannons, but my first instinct was to check this expansion, because as we saw in one of the previous games, I didn't even check this expansion there, and he actually had the base here for the whole game, so since then I'm always checking this. He actually removed the trees here, so I could push him from here. He realized that he's making barricades there, but I didn't know about him removing these trees, so no way I'll be pushing there. And I didn't really want to go into this. I knew that he was playing really passively now, really defensively. I took one more knight across the map or around it just to check the expansions. I wanted to see if he's playing this defensively and he has an expansion behind it, or if he's just scared and staying on one base, which actually confirmed here. I confirmed it by taking the knight here. Now I know that he doesn't have an expansion, so I'm immediately taking my own knights and going for this expansion, clear it, and then I will take my peasants and take the expansion. Yeah, just reacting to the situation. I gather information with my scouts, then I use the information and make the best possible move in the situation for me. We also scouted this expansion just to make sure he's not on any of these 3 positions. I also saw this one. He could be potentially on one of these, but that would be like ultra risky. I definitely didn't expect that. I'm also preparing this one, so I can take it later. And the last base I wouldn't see would be this one, but I will go here soon as well. And it doesn't really make sense for him to take any other expansions than one of these 3. Or this one in the back, but outside of this, he can't really get anywhere. As I said, yeah, he could potentially somehow squeeze through here before I got here with this knight, clear this, take it, and I wouldn't scout it, but that was such a low probability that I didn't even consider it, or I considered it, but didn't really invest the time to actually go there and scout it. So we finished this expansion. I'm immediately taking all of my peasants from trees here and bringing them down here, because this is really effective gathering of wood, and this is probably the worst position in the whole game for wood gathering, or at least for this map for sure. The trees are extremely far away, and you also have really small building space here, so you kind of have to place your buildings, mainly farms, on this part of the map, and then your peasants, when they are bringing the wood to your fort or whatever main building you have, they are getting constantly stuck between the farms, also where there are always the farmhouses everywhere. So this is just a really awkward position to gather wood. You could make a sawmill behind it, but as I said, there is small amount of space as well, so not really worth it. Not really good to harvest wood here. So once we get an expansion somewhere else, we definitely want to transfer our peasants there to gather the wood instead in that new location. Hopefully we will start immediately utilizing both of our main buildings to produce new peasants, but maybe I was actually saving up now for the castle. Then I realized that I actually need a smithy for it, so I think I will build it pretty soon. But maybe I first wanted to make some new barracks. I'm not sure what I was investing into now. Yeah, probably just catching up on food actually. Now I'm going for the second barracks here. And yeah, we are producing peasants in both of our main buildings. From the top, he shouldn't be able to get there. I have the scout here, so once again, if he wanted to attack me from the top, he always has to go through this bridge. That is what I like about this map in terms of scouting. Once you have one half of the map for yourself, you just need to take care of the bridges in terms of scouting or defense, and then you are totally safe. Of course, I'm not on one half of the map. Now I'm also here, but that's kinda connected. I have my main army here, so if he comes from this side to one of my bases, I can quickly defend it with the knights. If he tries to go from the top, I can just use this scout to see him. Here I checked both the bases. I saw neutral enemies there still, so I knew that he didn't take it. Unfortunately, he was already killing it, yeah, so this was the last second. If I came 10 seconds later, this would be already empty, and I would know that I have to be a little bit more careful in terms of scouting on that base. Now he's immediately taking it, yeah, so he was definitely quite lucky here, and he will get the expansion without me seeing it for quite some time. Some walls were focusing this knight a little bit, so I just retreated. It's only level 1, so I don't necessarily want to fight them, and even though I could maybe kill them on the bridge in some levels, but wasn't really necessary. So another knight is coming. We have lots of food in stock. The income is not the best, so we'll probably have to set up some extra farms pretty soon, but we can also set them up in the expansion. And here is that I'm finally making the smithy. Once we clear some extra trees here, we'll place another barracks here, I think, as well. So we have some more production buildings and also defensive structure in our expansion. Right now we are still living only on 2 barracks. Our opponent has already 3 barracks plus the smithy, and he finally also made the stables, so started producing cavalry as well. And he has definitely a better defense than me. He even has the outpost here, so to push through this you have to really go through outpost and barracks here, and then 2 more barracks in the back together also with the fort, so that's a really defensive position, really strong defensive position. He has many barricades, here just 1, but still lots of defensive buildings behind it. And here he has the expansion, which is not really protected, but he's safely gathering there for now, so that's really good for him. I could have definitely taken third base sooner, especially when I was constantly scouting him, so I knew that he doesn't have an expansion for a long time. Now he has it, but I will also scout it soon, yeah, so don't worry. Yeah, of course, night is happening, so we have some protection, knights for protection spread around our base. We are also going for the castle upgrade finally. Once we finished our smithy, then we'll be placing down the church and going for the heal upgrade. The heal upgrade can be sometimes kinda risky in terms of that it makes you really confident that you can push something, but to be honest, I don't find it actually that broken. Even if I play with more bases, really macro heavy, I make a huge army of knights, I farm levels for them, I buy potions, I get the heal. If the enemy has really strong defense, even with lower income, it's still really difficult to push just with knights. Yeah? It would be much better to just create few cannons, maybe 5 of them, get the artillery ability and start sieging him down, either forcing him out of his base or just dying to the cannons. But usually once I start making the knight strategy, I get pulled into this comfort of just making knight because it's really easy. You just have one type of unit that is pretty tanky. If we have slow cannons that can get rushed from one side, it's much more difficult for micromanagement. So this is just a really convenient thing to do, to just spam the knights, which are basically the strongest units without any real counters. But sometimes it's not the best for the pushing. Actually, you can still destroy the enemy economy, but if there's like 5 towers there and your knights are within range of all of them, and he has lots of cannons on top of them and leveled up archers, plus maybe some knights in between them, your units will still die pretty quickly. Some of them will get just one-shotted if 2 cannons shoot into one knight at the same time. He's just dead. So it's really difficult. Sometimes you can't even get the heals off, sometimes you can, but then you are fully focusing on that, which means you are doing your macro probably not the best, yeah, maybe not producing the units most effectively during the fight. So overall, I would be pretty careful about this. Even if you have a strong army of knights, don't try to immediately attack just because you got the heal. Just have it. If he wants to push you, you will just kill him with stronger army on the open field, but you don't necessarily need to rush into the enemy base and just lose everything. So that's just maybe a small tip. Even in the early game, sometimes I just go for a push. This game I actually played it safe. I saw that he has a strong defense, I retreated, go for macro approach. There's definitely a better approach, but in most games, at least before this, I was always going for a push after the first night. And even though it most of the time actually works, sometimes I will kill the player immediately, it doesn't always pay off. Sometimes you just start, you just actually lose the units and then you can fall behind, maybe even lose, because the enemy will be just in a better position. Here I will probably lose the scout. I started heavily starving after the night. It's not like that I lost anything, but I was constantly producing more units and I wasn't really building new farms. So now we need to catch up on that. But I think I still scouted this expansion with my knight, so now I knew that I just have to go for some kind of a push or create even stronger macro, because now he has an expansion and we need to do something about it. I'm still starving, so that's not really ideal. I need to finish all the farms. Here I scouted 3 of his knights, so I started following them, then they obviously went for my base. Scouted that I have 3rd base now. I maybe didn't even show this yet, but we have 3 bases now against 2, which is really good. And I also fixed the food problem now, so at least the knights have full speed and he can't just outrun me. Of course I have way more units, so he can't really harass me, but it's still hard to catch him and actually finish the enemy units because they still have 240 HP, which is definitely a lot. Now he decided to take all of his knights and go around the map, trying to push me from the back. I don't have the scout here anymore, so this is actually quite effective. He of course has no idea that I don't have a scout here anymore, but maybe he didn't even know that I had scout here before, so this is definitely kinda okay move from him. We researched the bows, which can be quite useful for defense, so definitely also a really good move. In terms of resources, I have definitely more and also way more food, like 250 in terms of the food being used by units. And fortunately I at least placed one scout here. It's not the most in the front like a bridge, but if I place him for example here, he could go around, so I wanted to place it into a narrow entrance that he has to go through if he decides to push me this way. So immediately when I saw him, I'm retreating with all of my units, bringing them into my base, and then just taking the peasants. I will go into minus with food, but we have lots of in stock. I wanted to start utilizing the bows that I just had here, and I didn't want him to just ride into my peasants and prevent them from actually retreating. So I did it really quickly. Now we are just following him here. I tried to lure him a little bit with small amount of knights in the front, but overall we have such a big army that he has to retreat. He's doing a really nice thing here, doing a split push, attacking with another army on my economy. Fortunately for me, I was prepared for that, so I didn't set the rally point on my army, creating new knights, but I started accumulating them near my expansions here, so we are immediately coming here with our knights. I'm using the extra resources to buy some potions here, because I knew that he has better, he has more of them, and we both have just level 1s, because I just created those and he didn't have any more neutral enemies to kill, or he ignored them. So I buy potions, both potions to actually repel this. Here I saw him retreating, so immediately repositioning, trying to follow him here, still producing more cavalry in all the barracks. He's not really sending reinforcements there, he's just regrouping at home. I think that was a mistake. He should have been also producing more knights for the fight on the bottom. Of course, right here I have my main army with really good levels and just really lots of units at once. So he wouldn't have a chance here even with more units, but here on the bottom potentially he would have a chance. But what I decided to do is also a split push, so now I have 3 armies. I'm fighting on 3 different places, even though now we defended our expansions. But instead of just retreating again, maybe losing some peasants here, all the problems that will go with it, I decided to take my army because I scouted this expansion before, so I decided to finally clear it. So we went here with our main army, 20 knights, and we have the best levels. And at home he tried to push me from the bottom, from the top, and once again immediately retreating using the boss ability. Here on the bottom I could retreat to the barracks, but main buildings are not really upgraded yet, so we cannot use that. I'm starving immediately again because we left all the farms, so we need to replenish that again immediately. He's even killing some extra farmers here, so that's not ideal, but overall we have way more units even at home. First of all, I retreated with small army there, and also I was producing constantly new knights. Here, even though we are starving, I know that it will be fixed in a second once we gather enough food in the main base, when we now placed our farmers back onto the farms. So here I just needed to use all of my mana with the heals to keep the knights long enough alive for my army to gain the food again, so they stop starving. In the meantime, we cleared basically all the peasants in both bases. He could potentially have another base here, but outside of that I was pretty sure that he's not anywhere else on the map. And it just means that he has no more economy. I still have 3 fully working bases, even though we lost most of our units here. Now I'm bringing the new huge army from the home. Once again, split pushing from 2 sides, just to be sure that we see everything. He cannot escape from any side. And yeah, you can see the resources also working in our favor really well. We have pretty much the same goal, but I have 3000 food, he has basically 0. He has only 300 food being consumed remaining. I have almost 1200, so that's definitely really good. And at this point it's already basically GG, even though you can see it's going for 4 more minutes because he didn't really want to surrender. He still had these strong defensive positions. Even though he's starving, he still has level 3 archers there, some cannons, so he wanted to wait for me to actually finish it. He wanted to probably get some extra kills for a little bit better stats, or he just refused to surrender. Probably wasn't most happy about this situation. But we are just constantly producing more knights. There could be a possibility that he still has a hidden army somewhere and he's going around the map and pushing me here. But once again, I can still regroup on the castle and barracks with my peasants and gain still a pretty strong defensive position just with the arrows, thanks to the boss ability. And if he somehow manages to push here, I can still do the same with these barracks. I should have probably upgraded the town hall, but I wanted to pump all of my resources into knights. As I said, I have maybe like 5 barracks now, or 4 of them, and all of them have like 4 knights queued, so there's a ton of resources, of course, plus we still have 3000 more gold and wood. And mainly I saw that his peasants and army are both starving, so I just knew that he has 0 food income, which means that even if he would have a secret army somewhere that was going to push me, it would be fully starving. So first of all, it would take him forever to even get there, even if it was night, and second of all, it would be even easier for me to actually destroy it. So I wasn't too worried about that. Here we just set up some extra defense again because night just came. And that won't really help me too much. Yeah, they will just get one-shotted, so I still need to finish it myself. They will just be annoying because they will be killing my economy, and I don't have much defense all over the map anymore. Most of my units are now in the attack, even though I have lots of resources. I didn't really bother creating new production buildings to actually be able to produce knights quicker again, so we can actually defend this. So here I lost lots of peasants. I think I will eventually retreat from here, but it took me some time. I was mainly trying to focus on finishing the enemy now, because it was the only remaining important thing. And now I think I maybe retreated with these peasants here. I will send them back once we clear this with the knights. It's still some extra resources for me, so I don't really care. Of course, here he has the outpost, which I cannot conquer just with the knights, so eventually I think I will start producing some swordsmen. Probably not yet, but once we finish the stables here and the barracks, the only remaining thing is the outpost, so we'll need swordsmen for that. First of all, I need to kill the cannons, which I could also do, for example, with archers, but the swordsman will be still needed to capture the outpost, so we actually win the mission. So I will prepare for it, but he will probably surrender before we can even get to it. He was still producing some knights, so definitely he still had some resources potentially, but it wouldn't even really matter, even if he still had a base somewhere. We just had way more resources at this point, and now he lost everything except the outpost. And seems like it will end in like 10 seconds, so he will probably just surrender. Yeah, here you can already see the swordsman being queued up, so I would also take it really soon. So he surrendered. We call it GG. Didn't get it back from him, but that's okay. 26 minutes. Let's check the results. We have the gold mine there, so 14 or almost 15,000 more gold for me. So really good from just the expansions. In terms of wood, we also had like more than double of his wood harvested. Units shrank, also almost 100 more, and we are making knights. He was also making knights towards the end, and before cannons, which are actually even more heavy on that. But overall, he was also making lots of archers, so I'm not sure how much resources he spent on the units, but I probably spent way more, so really good in terms of the amounts of units. Kill ratio actually not that great, still positive, but we lost definitely lots of units. Even though it was just knights, his defense was still really strong. I was also fighting lots of his knights, so actually pretty good from him. Even though his skills are not that great, I lost also some units to the neutral enemies. But yeah, pretty okay. Infrastructure, actually not that big of a difference either. Only 7 more buildings. He had maybe the same amount of production buildings as me. I think he had 3 barracks there. Then the smithy, I had maybe 4 barracks there, so maybe a little bit more production buildings on my side. But overall, even though he had only 2 bases and I had 3, maybe I even built a 4th one in the end, not sure. He still had really good infrastructure, which was also helping him a lot in terms of the defense. He also had outposts there, which I don't really have on my position. And neutral kills, once again almost 100 more. We tried to kill as many neutrals as we could with the knights, especially in the beginning, but then also in the mid game when we could. And I also had way better map control, so just more undead skeletons for me during the night. But still not that big of a difference, so we also got some nice resources from it. Obviously, every single stat is in our favor, so we definitely had way more resources overall, and that really helped a lot. So a little bit of a different game this time, a little bit more macro approach. It's not always possible, but if someone plays more defensively like this and you can get to the early nights, gain some map control, then you can definitely try this more macro heavy approach. Sometimes it's probably even easier on the 6-player map. On the 2-player map, yeah, you can get to 2 bases, but after that it's not really scalable. You can push the enemy and take his expansion, but at that point it's probably already GG. So it's mainly just the 3-player map and 6-player map right now in terms of 1v1s. In ranked, of course, you can play in custom games even 1v1 on the 8-player map, but in ranked games it's mainly on these 2. I just prefer this map. Also, I have the best games on these maps that are the most interesting at time. That's why I'm usually showing you games on this map, but I will maybe try to also prepare something more interesting on the 6-player map or even on the 2-player map, but that is usually pretty similar all the time, so there I don't have really interesting games, but you also will find some of the games on the 2-player map on my channel probably. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something from it. There was lots of split pushing from both of us and some interesting strategies. As I said, this player is really good as well, so really thanks for this game, and yeah, see you next time. Take care, guys.